This segment brought to you by SureCrop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
This is Dallas Peterson, Extension Weed Specialist at Kansas State University. And we've done some research in conjunction with the Kansas Soybean Commission this past year, evaluating the effects of simulated dicamba drift onto non-Xtend soybeans. We've had serious crop injury from dicamba onto non-Xtend soybeans the last couple of years, and the registration for the new dicamba products got extended for the next 2 years. Even though we had widespread injury in many cases, there were a lot of questions about whether there was any yield loss or not. So we established an experiment to evaluate the effects of different dicamba drift rates, different timings, and also multiple exposures to see if it did have an impact on yields. All applications resulted in injury to the soybeans, but there was less injury from those applications at the V3 stage than at the R1 or the R3 stages. The greatest injury, of course, occurred when we had multiple applications across the multiple timings, and with the highest rate. The three rates that we evaluated were 1/100th, 1/500th, and 1/1000th of a field use rate. 1/100th in many cases with most herbicides does not cause any visual injury symptoms, but with dicamba you can see injury down to 1/20,000th of a field use rate. So those are the rates that we chose. Again, very little yield impact on any of the rates applied at the V3 stage, and likewise not much yield impacts from any of the exposures, timings, or multiple exposures at the 1/1000th of a use rate. The greatest yield loss, of course, occurred with multiple applications, especially at that 1/100th of a use rate, and also from the exposure at the R1 and the R3 versus the V3 growth stage. So in most examples where we had injury in the field in recent years, we probably did not see much of a yield loss in those fields. However, again, where there were late exposures and especially multiple exposures at higher doses, those are the fields where we probably saw the greatest yield loss. I don't think we saw as much injury in 2018 as we did in 2017, and there are multiple reasons for that. One may be that we planted more Xtend soybeans this past year than the previous year. But in addition to that, I think we learned some things from our experiences in 2017. We had greater restrictions on the applications this past year, and I think just a better understanding of the factors that affected non-target injury, and we're just more careful in that regard. EPA recently did renew the registrations for 2 more years. They do have some additional application restrictions for this coming year. Probably one of the biggest ones is that now for 2019, applications can only be made 1 hour after sunrise until 2 hours before sunset. The dicamba products were actually classified as restricted use pesticides last year, but they've further defined that this year, that to apply the new dicamba products, you have to be a certified applicator as well as have dicamba or auxin training. The training requirement was there last year. We didn't know if that would be an annual requirement or not. EPA has come out and stated that they will require annual training, dicamba or auxin specific training, to make those applications in addition to being a certified applicator.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.